Cool.
Right.
All right, guys. So this is going to be a quick in-shed sort of tutorial on a couple of things. First thing we want to do, obviously, inside the shed is protect our back and protect our spine. So if we're going to look at the spine and the way it works, essentially it's like a rod. Cool, and that rod can move and flex, and that's a good thing. But what we want to do is make everything that supports that spine really, really strong so that it's keeping it nice and strong, nice and stable, so that the body can move rather than the spine, so that we don't place pressure on the disc or create any sort of injury in terms of the spine flexing in ways that it's not ready for. So what we're going to do is take Matt, we're going to take him through a little bit of a warm-up to basically activate our core and make the things that support your spine and make it really, really stiff and solid, really, really strong and stable and activated, so that by the time he goes to start his shearing, everything's going to be nice and tight, and he's going to take a lot of pressure off the back. So what I'm going to get you to do, Dan, is jump down on your back, lying down on your back. Cool. Now bend one leg.
Up.
Yeah, and now place that foot on the ground. No, sorry, just where it was. Yeah. All right. Now place your hands underneath your back. Yep. And feel how there's a bit of a hollow in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use your abs that are on the front of your stomach to basically push down so that it's going to create a nice tight cylinder around your spine. So what I want you to do is lift your shoulders up off the ground and a little curl up. Hold for 3 seconds. So lift your shoulders up off the ground. Try not to curl your neck. Try get a little bit higher if you can. Yeah, and really push your stomach or your belly button into your hands so that you can feel your lower back pushing into your hands. And we're going to do 5 reps of that with a 3-second hold. So lifting those shoulders up. Yep, and then hold for 3, 2, 1, relax. Cool, and you're going to do 5 reps of that, up and down. Really try to push your lower back into your hands and up. Good, push that lower back into your hands as hard as you can. Good, and again. 5 reps on that side, and then 5 reps on the other side. Good.
So why is you're doing each side? Why is one leg up and one leg down?
Yeah, good question, man. So what we're doing there is taking the hip flexor out of it. So when we're in a bent over position, a lot of the time, what we're actually doing is using those hip flexors to keep us stable. So they can become quite strong or overused and become quite tight. So what we're doing here is actually isolating the abs, so that instead of jamming up the hip flexors and making them work, we're actually making the abs work, and they're going to be better at supporting the spine than the hip flexors.
Yep.
So one of the number 1 reasons why people get tight hips is due to tight hip flexors, and generally it's because those hip flexors are weak or they're doing too much of the work. So if we can make the abs a lot stronger, or we can make our core a lot stronger, then we can take the hip flexors out of it, and then we don't necessarily need to stretch the hip flexors, because they're not overworking and not getting tight. They'll actually start to lengthen themselves because they're not overworked, because we're using bigger, stronger muscles to make the spine more stable. Cool. Awesome. Yep. All right, now we're going to go into a side plank, Dan. So on your elbow. Yep. And from this one, we want your shoulder, your hip, and your ankle all in one line. And then I want you to lift your hip up as high as you can. Yeah, cool. So once again, with this one, if we look at the spine, so what we've done is just activated everything in the front of your spine. Now we're going to activate the sides, so that when you're doing, yeah, that's good. when you're doing anything that's rotation, moving around, this is what's going to stop you from moving too fast or basically support the spine. So making sure this is nice and strong or activated before you start work is really good. All right, and swap sides.
And so this you're just going to hold
roughly for 45 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So what we're going to do on this warm up, so Daniel obviously national
and
champion.
do you leg up or leg down?
He's overachieving here. So what we want to do, actually drop the leg down for a start. Cool, because that's actually going to work the hip, but stay in that side plank position.
Leg down.
Yeah. So we'll just hold for 45 seconds. Get your hip as high as you can. So lift your hips away from the ground for 45 seconds. And then at the end of the 45 seconds, we can lift that leg because that's actually going to make the hips start to work as well. Cool. Yeah, that's it. Actually, really bloody strong. So being strong through there, that's going to activate the hips as well, which is another thing that's going to help support that spine. All right, now we're going to do the back. So I'm going to get you to lie on your stomach, Daniel. Arms out in front of you. Yep. And then you're just going to lift up off the ground. Lift up and hold. So lift your chest and your legs off the ground for 30 seconds. That's it. This one here is also a good one at the end of the day to help recover your back or in between runs. But what we've done is we've gone from the front, the sides, and now we're starting to work the back.
Go again.
Yep, and up. Hold for 15 seconds. Hey. Yeah, and take a rest. Cool. And then the last little one we're going to do is I'm going to get you to lie on your side. Just like you're lying on your arm, so just resting on the ground. And then place your top foot just behind your knee.
So bend. Go like that. But
yeah, that's it.
So
yeah. And now roll forwards. So roll over towards, roll forwards a bit more. Yeah. All right, now all I want you to do is lift your knee up and down really, really slow for 20 reps. Yeah, try not to move the hips at all. Just try move from the knee. Cool. And what we're doing here is starting to work on activating our hips. So these are going to keep us nice and stable when we're moving. If our hips, this part of here is a lot more stronger when we're moving around, it's actually going to take a little bit of pressure off that spine as well. And it's just going to get everything nice and warm. If you're someone who suffers from a lot of pain from bending forward, these two exercises we've just done with the back arches and then the side plans, there are a couple of good exercises that will not only help to relieve a bit of pain, but also prevent a bit of pain as well. Cool. So you basically do both sides. So that's a real simple warm up. Do you have any questions on that one, Wayne?
I think that's pretty good, man.
Yeah. So what we've basically done is thinking of that spine once again as a stable. We want it to be nice and stable. We want the spine to be stable so that we can move our shoulders or our hips, but we want the spine to stay nice and stiff. And what we're doing is we've activated the front, the sides, and then the back to create a nice stable structure or supporting structure so that our spine is protected and then we can move a lot more freely. Cool.
Good job, mate.
Awesome. Cool.
Ready to go now.
Jeez.
You ready to go?
He's ready to go.
Awesome, mate. How do you feel? You feel a bit looser? Just the hips are free?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So our next part, what we're going to go over, I'll just quickly